Hello everyone, good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
So in the last lecture we have covered some basic locator like ID, class name, link text and then I think partial link text. So we are left with three: XPath, CSS and tag name, right? So let us see what is XPath locator and the CSS locator. So let us discuss what is XPath and CSS. So suppose this is the HTML line. Let me write it input. So suppose this is the line HTML line for a web element button. For the button, just assume there is one line which is this. So you can use ID locator, you can use name locator, and you can also use class name locator as well, right? So you can use any one, but sometimes it happens like instead of ID there is some other present like I will write like suppose like this. So instead of class there is some other attribute like this. So basically if you want to now perform any operation on the button, how you can do that? See, ID is not available and these three are not any locator, right? So how you can proceed? So in that case, here comes the XPath and CSS. So there might be the situation where you will not find the locators which we have discussed, but for any element, for any web element on the page, XPath and CSS can definitely be written. XPath be written for any web page, right? Sorry, web element. So let us see what is the syntax of XPath. Syntax is very simple. It is, so let us see one thing before that. XPath. So if I open any website, like if I open Amazon, let me say this one. So if I want to see what is the HTML code for this website, how I can do? I will right click and click on inspect. That will show me the HTML code of this complete website. And here, if I want to view like what is the HTML code of this matches, but like matches. So if I click this, it will open one new web page. So if I want to see what is the HTML code, just left click and click on this, right? So here you can see it has given me that this is the HTML code, right, of this matches. Similarly, like if I want to view what is the HTML code of this live scores, this is I will click like this, right? So if you see, if I minimize this, if I minimize this line, so can anyone tell me that parent and the child concept is already done? What is parent and child here? Have we already covered it?
Yeah, you covered it.
Okay. So okay, as we have already did in the previous lecture, what is the parent and the child here? So let us start with the XPath syntax. So syntax is, you have to provide two forward slash tag name at the attribute equals to value. So this is the syntax of your syntax of the XPath. So you can see that you have to provide double slash tag name at the attribute equals to value. So if for this line, if you want to write the XPath, how you can write double slash, so tag name is input at the rate, what is the attribute, like you can choose anyone, right? You can choose anyone. Suppose if I choose this one, at the rate attribute equals to, what is the value? Value is ABC. So this is our XPath, right?
So
Yeah.
can we even use that href, the one which
Yeah,
you written in the
you can
last?
you can use anyone.
Okay.
So here
And
you can,
it's in a single quote, inside single quote, the value.
which one?
The value is inside the single quotes or is it double
No,
quotes?
it is single quotes.
Okay, thank you.
Hmm. So here it is just dummy line. So for the understanding purpose I have written. So you can also write XPath for this like this. Double slash at the rate href equals to, in the single quotes, provide fgh, right? So once you have written the XPath, you should also check it, right? We should check the XPath so that no more only one element is matching, which means unique element should match. So if I let me open Cricket Buzz. Let me write, if I want to click on this matches. If I want to click on this matches, here you can see so many. You can see it is highlighting this. Let me first go back. Okay. So if I click this, right, it is highlighting this. Right, it is highlighting, which means we can write any locator for that, right? So how we can do, like we can take this one. So if I write here, what I will do, I will say control F, and here I will start writing. What is the tag name? Tag name is A. So double slash tag name A. Okay, so let me write on the top, tag name A at the rate target equals to self. Let me choose this one and let me see whether only one element is matching. So at the rate target equals to, what is the target? Target is hyphen self. So I will copy it and try to check. So you can see total 88 elements are matching. You can see all the elements. This is how you are getting. So let me not choose this one. Why I am not choosing this one? Because more than one element is matching with this, right? So what you can do, if you still want to use this one, you can do one thing: provide function bracket, and after that you can write one. If you write one, it will highlight this. If you write two, it will highlight this. 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7. So 7, let me check which element is matches 9. So based on the number, it will, so you can count it which element it is. Let me try to do. or let me choose this one, right? Because this number should not be very big. It is not looking good. Let me choose some other which looks unique. Like you can see, ID looks unique to me. So instead of this one, @ID equals to this. So if I try to you can see total one element is matching, which is unique, 1 out of 1. So I can use this XPath, and here I will write a statement. Half of the statement will be same. So I will say driver dot find element by dot XPath. So this is our XPath, and after that, as this is a link, I will going to click the link, right? So if I click it, and let me open the website, and we will see whether it is able to click or not.
Sumit,
Yeah.
what if I want to use the href here? You see, the title href is equal to this link.
So if
Ha,
you
yeah.
want to use, you can do like this. But this link is very big. Let me. If I try to. I think this is the HREF from here to. Okay, so I will copy this. Copy this. @HREF. So you can see you can use this way. But here you can see two elements are matching because I think two elements are having the same link. You can see what is the HREF here and what is the HREF here. Live score and the matches have the same HREF. So if you still want to use HREF, you can put array function bracket like this and provide index. So if you want to go to live score, provide one. So you can see it is highlighting the live score. If you want to go to the second one, you can use this. Is it clear?
Yes, Sumit, thank you.
Okay. So let me use this one now. If we try to click it, if we try to click it, let me use href1 driver dot find element by dot XPath, and I will say dot click, and I will use dot click method. So if I okay, so if I use dot click method and try to run this, let us see. Okay, so first let's open the UI.
Yeah, yeah. Driver.get, you have to change it.
If I change it here and if I run it, it should click on that live page. Sorry, matches. It has, you can see it has clicked on matches, right? Earlier we were here. But if I click this, you will see you will land on the same page. So this is how you can use click method here. So you can use click method here, and okay, so let us take one more example. So I think we have already also discussed get text method, right? Is it the case we have discussed get text method as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we did.
right. So if you want to get the text of this matches, so first what I will check whether this matches. You can see this matches is present outside of any attribute, right? So you can use get text here. Otherwise you have to use the get attribute, which we have seen in the last class. So here if you provide, instead of click you can say dot get text. So if I provide, and if I print it, so we should see matches text in our output. So you can see matches is printed, right? So you can use get text in the same way. Methods will remain the same, only the locator will change every time if you want. So after that, so this XPath is called as the relative XPath. This type of XPath is called as the relative XPath. This is also a relative XPath. Relative XPath, and this third one is also a type of relative XPath, right? And there is one more type of XPath which is called as the absolute XPath. It always single slash and starts with which is HTML. So what I mean here, there is one more type of XPath, absolute and the relative. Absolute is the second one. So it always starts with the single forward slash and it starts with the root of the web page, which is HTML. So like if I give you an example, if I give one example, so if I write, suppose I will open one website. This is the website, and I want to suppose enter some data here, right? So first of all, I want to see what is the HTML code. Inspect the website. Left click this. Left click it one time. So you can use class locator. So here you can use class locator or you can use ID locator as well, right? But here we are discussing XPath and XPath. So like for that, how I can write the XPath? If I can use this way, input placeholder equals to this. So I can write input at the rate placeholder equals to this one, right? And if I control F, control V, you can see this is our relative XPath, right? But if I want to write the absolute XPath for this, how I can write? I will start from this with the single slash. How you can write? Uh, Here instead of you can see I will start from this first. Always the HTML tag you will find on the top, right? So this is the starting of any website. So inside this HTML tag, you will have all the data, right? All the HTML code of the website, right? So if you see, I want to reach here to this particular text box from here. So first I will write slash forward slash HTML, right? After that, I want to reach here. Why I am not going inside head? Because you can see I want to reach to this search box which is present inside the body. So I will write slash body, right? Now you can see I am here, and please also check that whether you are getting one element or not. Otherwise you have to put the index which we have seen earlier. And after that, if you see, where I have to reach. If I again inspect it, let me check where we have to reach. You can see we are here, and after that, if you see where we have to go, inside this style or inside of div. So you can clearly see our data is here. So I am going inside div id, right? So I will say slash div. Right now I am here, but here if you see, you are getting three matching element, 1 out of 3, because once I have said body slash div, there will be 3 div. If I hit enter, so this is first one, yellow one, first, second, and then third, right? So total 3 div tags are present. So which inside which you want to go? I want to go inside first div, yeah, first div tag. So I will say 1. After that I will say 1. So now you will see one element will match. Now I am here. If I want to go to the second one, suppose, so I will say 2. If I want to go to the third one, I will say 3. So you can provide index at any point in time. So I will say 1 as of now. And once I am here, I want to reach here. So after that, I first go inside div again. So I will say slash div. Now you can see I am here, right? Now there are, if I want to go to the second one, div, you can see total 2 tags, both are same. I want to go to the second one, but if I simply say slash div one more time, it will identify. You can see there is one more which is on the bottom, right? So it will start highlighting everything, right? But where we want to go, we want to go to the second one. So you can see I want to go to the second one, so it is highlighting this. Now we are here. After that I want to go to form, because our element is present here, so I will say slash form. Now we are here, and after that I want to go to the input tag, because here is my text box web element is present, so I will say input. Now it is highlighting 2. First one is this, second one is this. So which you want to go? You want to go to the first one or second one? Second one is for button. I want to go to the first one, so I will say 1. So this is going to be our absolute XPath, that is starting from the single slash. It starts from the root of the web page, which is HTML, and from that one by one we are going till the element, right? Is it clear to everyone?
Yeah.
So if I,
So we need to provide only this, or there's some, I mean, other reference also we need to provide to identify the element.
what you are saying, can you repeat again?
I'm saying like do we need to provide only this thing like HTML and then div and then all this which you
Yeah,
wrote?
so this is
Only
basically
this
how.
thing will identify the web element.
No, can you repeat again? Your voice is breaking little
What
bit.
yeah, okay. What I'm saying is, if we write like HTML body div one, div then div two like this, which you have written over here,
Hmm.
so only this much is enough to identify the web element, or there is something we need to add more
No, no. You
to
can
this.
see what you are getting here. Let us check
Mhm.
whether XPath is correct or not. Okay, so let me also check. Instead of doing this one, go to console. I am just validating that whether this line is sufficient to identify my web element or not. So I will go to console, Control L will clear this and provide $X. So if you want to validate your XPath, provide $X in double quotes, provide the complete XPath, right? And after that, hit enter. Once you hit enter, expand this, and if you place your mouse here, you can see your text box web element is highlighting, which means your XPath is correct. Your absolute XPath is able to identify the web element, so you do not have to provide any other thing. And you can see length is 1, which means only one element is matching, right? Or this is the way you can validate, or I am just validating it here as well. I have written this complete absolute XPath, and you can see the yellow color. And when I'm placing my mouse, right, if I say 2, you can see yellow color will come here, which means it is identifying this web element, and also it is a unique 1 out of 1 is matching. So this is how I am identifying that whether we need to provide any other thing or not. So here in this case, you are able to identify your text box with this absolute text path. Okay.
Samit,
Yeah.
I have a doubt. Actually, where we have to use relate expert or absolute expert?
Yeah, I am coming to this point after that.
Okay.
Okay. So
Because
yeah,
wait, wait. Here such element is at the top of the page, so somewhat it's easy to find relate expert. So
yeah, I
absolute
am coming to
expert.
this point. I am coming to this. Okay.
Okay, okay.
So if I copy this, first let me open the website URL. If I use website URL, I will this I will paste and okay. So here is our if I will come in this. I will write driver dot find element by dot xpath. So syntax will be same for absolute and the relative. Provide the xpath and just say send key as it is a text box. I will write some data like Selenium, Java, right? And if I run this, it should enter Selenium Java, right? So it has entered Selenium. Whatever the text you have provided here, I think we have provided Java, not Java, JAV. So I will write Java. And if you want to also click on the search button, how you can click on the search button? If you remember that whenever I am providing 2 here, it is highlighting the button web element. So if I say 2 and after that if I use click method for button, let us see whether it is also clicking on the search button or not. So you can see, so somehow as we are working with automation, so it is saying that verify that whether you are a human. That is not an issue. Basically we have to search whether we are able to click on the search button or not, right? So we can use same method with the click, which is send keys, right? So this is absolute XPath. So coming to the point where we have to use which one. If I write it here, always relative XPath is preferred. Always relative XPath preferred over absolute XPath. Why absolute XPath? Because if you see, this is our relative XPath, and let me copy that absolute XPath. So this is our absolute XPath, right? So just suppose, right, because in the websites daily they will change the code, right? So what happens if this div tag will become like instead of div tag it becomes input somewhere? So what will happen, your XPath will fail and you will not be able to identify the element, which means it will throw error like element not present like this. So basically, as we are depending on the parent node, like for this div2, what is the parent input? For the input, what is the parent? Div1. For div1, what is the parent body? For the body, what is the parent HTML? So I mean to say that here we are depending on, in the absolute XPath we are depending on the parent node. So if any of the node in between changes, our XPath will fail and so does our script. So this is the reason we are not going to prefer our absolute XPath. But if you consider this one a relative XPath, here we are not depending on the parent node, we are just writing, we are going to that particular element and writing our XPath. So this is the reason it is mostly preferred, right? So there there might be one more question that, so if that is the case, then why we should use only why there is absolute XPath concept? So see, if I just show one, if I am able to show, suppose let us take that text box. So this is the one thing that why we are going to prefer the relative XPath. And if I take the snapshot of this, if I take the snapshot on this, right? So like suppose we are working on relative XPath. Suppose we are working on the relative XPath. So this is our text box web element. So just suppose the value of this text will keep on changing. This value also keep on changing, right? Just assume this value also keep on changing. This values also keep on changing. So I mean to say this 100 number is also keep on changing. This one 45. This one is also changing, and this whatever it is written here, this is changing, which means this is our text box web element, and all the attribute value keep on changing, but this tag name is constant, right? So if you try to write the relative XPath, how you will write input @class equals to text field or some other attribute value. But as these values are keep on changing, there might be the case that every time you will refresh the page, value will keep on changing. So if you try to write the relative XPath, it will fail your script because these values are not constant every time. So in that case, you can do absolute XPath because these tags are going to be constant. Just suppose these tags are constant, then what you will do, you are going to write the absolute XPath because you know the tags are not changing. So you will come from here and then here and then here, and then you will identify this element. So if that is the case, you can use absolute XPath. Otherwise, we are going to use the relative XPath because it is easier to write as well as that we are not depending on the parent node, so our XPath is also not going to fail. So this is the reason uh, we have to use absolute and relative. Is it clear to everyone?
Sumit, can you please repeat? I somewhat confused.
Okay, let me give me a minute. So suppose if you see, if you let me take a snapshot again. So if you remember that we have written one relative XPath recently, this this is for the web element text box. So how you write the relative XPath? You write like, for this I am talking input. Input is our tag name. So input @ what is the attribute? Attribute is suppose if I am taking
Yeah.
placeholder, or let me take type. Type equals to text. So this is our relative XPath, and it will click on the web element. So
Okay.
just suppose these whatever the values you are seeing here, every time you will refresh the page, suppose this text name will change to text 123, right? And these numbers will keep on changing every time you will refresh the page.
Mm.
Similarly, every other attribute, this attribute will also keep on changing. The value, this value also keep on changing, which means every value you are seeing here keep on changing. So if you try to write the relative XPath, right, but once you run your script, your page will refresh and you will see that this value keep on changing, so it will fail the script because these values are not constant. So in that case, what I can do, I know that this is going to be constant. Input tag name will not change. Right after I've checked that refreshing the website, input tag is not changing. Right. So what I can
Mm.
do, I can write absolute XPath in that case. So I will come from HTML, just like we written like HTML. After that body. After that wherever it is like we have to say div. Then whatever we have written, I am just saying this. So
Mm.
div suppose 2.
Okay.
After that,
Okay.
after that form. After that after that input. So now we are reaching to that same element. We are depending on the parent node because these values were changing for us. So here we have used this concept.
Okay. Is there any reality case in real time? Is there any case like this? Like every tag name will be changing?
Yeah, so
Uh,
that will be very very rare. If I will find such website, I will show you. Okay, I will check
okay.
whether if there is very very rare, but that might be the case. But it
But
is
if we want to no, if but if we want to find at the end of the page, it will be very tough.
yeah.
I
That's
think.
why I'm saying that there are other methods
Is
as
there
well.
any alternative for this?
There are other methods as well you can use, right? So let us
Okay.
discuss that other method. Like suppose
Okay.
the element is present at the end of the page, so that is not a good way to write each and every here. So
Yeah.
what you
Yes.
can do, just suppose, let me take a snapshot again. If I want to, as we have discussed that, just assume these values are keep on changing. These values are keep on changing, whatever the but tag name is constant, which is input. So one way we can use this absolute XPath, which we have just seen, absolute XPath, that we have to come from start from the HTML and then we will reach here. But that can be very very lengthy sometimes. So what we can do, like let me write the relative XPath. I know that if I write the relative XPath for this line, that will fail our script because all the values keep on changing, right? Just suppose all the values are changing, so it will fail. But I know that this line is constant. I know that after refreshing the page, I know that this is not changing. Divide equals to search is constant. So what I can do, I can write the relative XPath for this line. How you can write? Tag name is div, tag name at the rate, attribute is ID, and what is the value? Value is search. So this is what I have written. I have written the relative XPath for the line, which is constant, right? And after that, if I want to reach from this to this, because my text box is present here, I want to reach from here to here. How you can do? After this, I want to reach to the first form, so provide single slash form, so you will reach to the form, and after form you have to reach to the input. So once you will reach to the input, right? So this is where we have to reach, and here you can see two input tags are present, so you have to provide, it will give you two element, but if you provide one, it will not going to navigate to the first one. So this is how you can also traverse, right? So this time you can see it is much smaller and much complex than the absolute XPath. So is it clear? Let us discuss this. Like if I write here the same thing, like or you can start from here, you can start from here, your choice. Suppose I know that these lines are also changing, but this is constant. So I will start from here, writing relative XPath div at the rate ID header, right? So you can see 1 out of 1. And after that, where I have to go? I have to go to till here because this is my text box. So if I first I want to reach to the second div tag. This is our second div tag. This is our first div tag. So I want to go to the second one. So if I will say slash div of second. Now we are on the second one. After that, I want to reach to the form tag. So I will say form. Now we are here. And after that, slash input. So you can see input is 2 matching. So I will say 1 if I want to go to the first one, and 2 if I want to go to the second input. So like if I say 1, so I will copy this, and instead of this lengthy line, I will, okay, sorry. So driver dot find element by dot xpath dot click, right? So if I, sorry, not click, you have to use the, like I will say apm, right? So if I run this, it will again going to fill the data into the text box. So this is basically we are using parent-child relationship with the with the relative XPath. Right? It has filled APM. What I'm saying, we are using, if I have written like this, as it is double slash, it is relative XPath. So this is our relative XPath, and along with that I'm using parent and the child concept, right? So similarly here we are also using the parent and the child concept, but it is absolute XPath as it is from the single slash. But here we are providing relative XPath and we are using parent and the child concept with this, so that we can identify our element uniquely. So this is also one of the way. Is it clear?
Sumit, I have one query.
Yeah.
So suppose our I have to traverse from child to parent. So is this possible?
Yeah, it is possible. Basically in XPath you can travel from parent to child as well as child to parent. But we will see that after once we cover the basic of XPath, probably after the
Okay.
lecture or tomorrow lecture, right? So
Okay.
in the XPath, we can traverse from parent to child and vice versa, right? But in CSS locator, we can only travel from parent to child. So we will see that these things, do not worry, right? So so first tell me that whether this is clear or not.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Yes.
yeah, it's clear. What is that expert called? Like absolute or a combination of absolute and
No,
relative?
this is a relative XPath. You can say it is
Okay.
starting from the single slash, so you can say relative XPath,
Mm.
right? But here we are only using single slash, so it is absolute XPath, right?
Mm. Okay, fine. Thank you.
Okay. So we have to. Okay, so I remember one website that is where elements are keep on changing. One element is there, not all, but you can see that that element will keep on changing. Okay, so this button value will keep on changing. If I show you what is the HTML code, and so if you see this, check availability, right? Suppose your task is to click on this button, right? So if I copy this value and place it here, so this is the value, okay? And if I refresh this website, which means suppose you are relaunching the website with the help of Chrome. So for the next time, let us see what is the value. So if I copy this, this is our second one, and if I refresh it again, the value this time is little bit different. If I copy this and paste it here, you can see every time this number is changing, right? So here only you can clearly see that only a part of this is changing, but just assume that there are attributes in the website, whole value will keep on changing, right? So that can be the case. You can use absolute XPath, right? So are you able to see that how it is changing the value?
Yes.
Like if I refresh one more time, so here only one value is changing, but there might be the case that they have made each and every value keep on changing, right? In that case, you can use absolute XPath or you can say relative XPath and the parent-child relationship, your choice. But here you can see if I copy it, and paste it here, you can see this value. If you clearly see this value keep on changing, right? This value keep on changing, this value keep on changing, but the previous value is constant. So in that case, XPath provided you one function which is starts with. So what I will do, tag name there is one tag name starts with if you write attribute comma value. So this is how you can also write your XPath. Why I'm writing the XPath here? Because I know that this value is constant. So what I can say, I am saying that identify that web element where the value will start with this constant name, right? If I provide this one, then also it will be able to identify. So if you can see I have prepared one sheet. I will share the sheet with you. So we are using that, you can say XPath, absolute and the relative, both are the type. This is our relative XPath syntax, and absolute XPath always start with a single slash. It is not preferred because you can see it might be the very lengthy, and also if some of the tag will change, it will fail. And if you come this, so we are not discussing CSS as of now, right? Suppose you can see uh, double slash relative, single slash absolute XPath. So here we have to look this. If I come down, XPath syntax, this one. So if you see there is one starts with. So if I try to copy this, if I copy this syntax and I want to suppose write the XPath for this name. So this is the syntax. If you see the syntax is this. So for this, what is the tag name? Tag name is input. Tag name is input. And I will say what is the attribute? Name is the attribute name. And what is the value? Value is this. So I will not going to provide the complete value because the after L 9EF 9T G will keep on changing. So I will provide only the half value, and it's your choice. At this whole part is constant every time. So if I write this value here and copy paste, Control F, Control V, so you can see it is able to identify. Even if you remove some of the characters, then also it will be able to identify. Till the time it will find the matching element, right? So this is how you can use this function. And if I just run this, let us see whether it is able to click on the button or not. So if I let me open the URL. So this is our URL, and I will say driver dot find element by dot. This is again XPath. So XPath is our locator. So I will copy paste that XPath which we have written. So I will suggest you to not use any ready-made tool as of now to write our XPath in CSS, because in the interview they will ask you how you can write in this case XPath. So then at that time you cannot say that I can use any tool to write the XPath. So once you are in a project you can use to save the time, but here I will suggest to go with this one. You should know that how you can create our own XPath in CSS. So you can see I have provided click method. It should click on that button, check availability button. So you can say it has also clicked. You see it is saying if I refresh it, you will see the same message. If I try to refresh it, if I click this, you will see this. So which means it has successfully clicked on the button. So you can also provide the ID of your choice, right? So it is your choice. So this is how you can use starts with function with the XPath. Is it clear to everyone?
Yeah, yes.
So guys, we will see some other functions of XPath, and then we will continue with the
Sumit, one doubt.
Hmm.
Can you use like this in real time?
Yeah, all this is real time only, not an issue.
Okay,
I
okay.
am using it everywhere you can use. That is not an issue, right?
Okay.
So what you wanted to know, like what is real time, right? In the project you are asking, na?
No, no, no. Actually, see, for example, some things we won't use in real time, right? It's just a method only. So for example, some methods we need to know, but interview purpose we need to know. We cannot use in real time, right?
No, real
See,
time.
just like we know absolute expert and all we cannot use in real time, but we should know about this, right? Like that, I thought of starts with also. I have doubt whether we can use this one in real time or not.
No, real time. What do you mean by the real time? First, I wanted to know this.
No, no. For example, in applications, while we are working with frameworks and all, we have some standards while using
Yeah,
expert and all, right?
that basically depends on your client. What client wants. Some client says that okay, you do not use this function like this. Some client says that you should only work with CSS only. So that is
Yeah,
totally
yes.
up to the client. Otherwise, you should know, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay.
So it totally depends on
Got.
your client how he wants you to write. And after that, okay. So what I'm saying that till this practice the concept, and in the next lecture we will discuss few more variations in XPath and CSS, and then we will also see how we can traverse from parent to child and child to parent in the XPath, right? So that's all for today. If you have any question, you can ask.